In the next section of the Rig Veda, we encounter a profoundly influential and highly controversial verse. When they divided the Purusha, how many portions did they make? What do they call his mouth, his arms? What do they call his thighs and feet? His mouth became the Brahmana. His arms were made the Kshatriya. His thighs the Vaishya. From his feet the Shudra was born. This passage was later quoted by the Brahminical tradition as the sacred foundation of the caste system, justifying the division of humanity into 4 varnas, social classes. However, if we carefully examine the role of this verse within the context of the entire Purusha Sukta, we will realize that the misinterpretation of legitimizing inequality is a betrayal of the true spirit of this hymn. 1. This is a song, not a constitution. First and foremost, we must understand that the Purusha Sukta is a hymn, a divine song celebrating the essence of existence and the inseparability of all phenomena, rather than a legal document for social systems. The poem does not praise or denigrate any particular part, but rather poetically describes the unfolding of the cosmic body of the Purusha. The mouth symbolizes speech, wisdom, and incantations, becoming the Brahmin, signifying knowledge. The arms symbolize strength and protection, becoming the Kshatriya, symbolizing guardianship. The thighs symbolize action and support, becoming the Vaishya, symbolizing labor and economy. The feet symbolize bearing the earth and supporting all beings, becoming the Shudra, symbolizing service and support. In this structure, we do not see any judgments of high or low status. What we see is that each part is indispensable, and each function is a part of the whole. Imagine if there is only the ability to speak without the capacity for action. Has that person not lost the foundation of life? Interpreting this verse as a symbolic unfolding of 4 abilities is far more reasonable and profound than twisting it into a system of class division. 2. Cosmic structure beyond superiority and inferiority. In the poem, it continues to say, "The moon was born from his mind, the sun was born from his eye. Indra and Agni were born from his mouth, Vayu from his breath." Here, what we see is not a hierarchy of nobility, but rather the flow and praise of the natural energy order in different forms. The sun and moon are not in opposition, but rather the rhythm of day and night. The gods, Indra, Agni, and Vayu, are not ranked, but are manifestations of cosmic energy on different levels: light, heat, breath, movement, all essential components of the flow. Furthermore, the poem goes on to say, "From his navel came the firmament. From his head the heaven was produced, the earth from his feet, the quarters of space from his ear. So they constituted the world." Here, the sky and earth similarly are not ranked. They are both essential parts of the universe, unfolding the one within the many. It is worth noting that in the Vedic period, the concept of hell as a place of punishment did not exist. Yama, the god of death, resided in the heavenly realm, and death was not seen as a terrifying judgment, but rather as a transformation and flow of energy. When we return to the verses of the Purusha Sukta, we find that its fundamental spirit is not about distinguishing the superiority or inferiority of different gods or beings. Instead, it reveals how the one unfolds within the many, and how the universe forms a harmonious resonance amidst diversity. From this perspective, we see not a hierarchical system, but a continuous resonance between the manifest and unmanifest, between matter and energy. The earth and sky, sun and moon, fire and wind are all different manifestations of the One. There is no one ruling over another, no one superior to another, but rather a coalescence in resonance and order that forms the world. All of this should be a celebration of the beauty of diversity, the wonder of the body, and the unity of existence. Yet it has been manipulated in later times to justify social oppression, becoming the sacred mask of the caste system that we must seriously reflect upon. 3. The formation of the caste system. How was poetry distorted into law? The Purusha Sukta originated in the Vedic period, a time when social hierarchies were not yet established. The subsequent caste system evolved as Brahminical traditions gradually became dominant in society, using the language of the Vedic classics to sanctify power and legitimize privileges. A prime example is the Manusmriti, which completely transformed the symbolic four functional categories from the Purusha hymn into a hereditary system. Brahmins are born as priests and teachers by nature. Kshatriyas are born as rulers and warriors by nature. Vaishyas are born as merchants and farmers by nature. Shudras exist only to serve the first three, are forbidden from reading the Vedas, performing rituals, or even crossing marital boundaries. Not only that, marriage, mourning, eating rules, birth rituals, and even death rites were strictly segregated by the caste system. Social mobility was completely prohibited. The surname you are born with determines your entire life. For thousands of years, many lives were trapped under this system, unable to break free. And all of this was supported by this very passage from the Purusha Sukta. Isn't this the greatest betrayal to the spirit of non-duality? Isn't this the most brutal denial of the essence of one is many? Many is one. 4. From body metaphors to tools of oppression. How can we prevent the sacred from being distorted? The Purusha divided into mouth, arms, thighs, and feet was meant to emphasize the coordinated division of labor within the whole. But later generations forcibly interpreted it as social hierarchy. However, who can claim to represent only the mouth? Who can claim to be destined to be just the foot for life? A truly complete person must have a mind for thought, wisdom, have hands for protection and construction, strength, have legs for labor and progress, endeavor, have feet for grounding and service, action. These 4 elements are not 4 types of people, but qualities and abilities that every individual should possess. Only when we understand this verse as a symbolic description of the whole functionality of the human can we truly respect the spirit of the Purusha Sukta. Existence knows no hierarchy. Expression knows no nobility. Every part of Purusha is an expression of truth. 5. A true Brahmin is an awakened being, not a privileged one. The Brahmin, symbolizing the mouth, signifies the transmitter of knowledge. But knowledge should be earned by endeavor, not a privilege at birth. In the true spirit of the Vedas, a true Brahmin must possess humility, compassion, wisdom, and a spirit of service. They should not arrogantly proclaim themselves superior to others, but understand that all suffering arises from division and prejudice. Therefore, a true Brahmin would vehemently oppose the caste system, because they understand. It destroys trust between communities, strips countless people of their dignity, and turns the sacred poetry into institutionalized indifference. 6. How should we understand the sacred? The sacred is not meant to create boundaries, but to illuminate the deep unity of existence. The Purusha is not meant to be a diagram of human hierarchical levels, but to reveal that while the manifestations are diverse, the essence is one while the phenomena are complex. The source is singular. Hence, we must ask, how can a myth advocating the oneness of essence and appearance lead to a system of innate human inequality? A person who truly understands Purusha Sukta will not recite it to oppress others, but will instead realize the unity between oneself and others, the resonance between the body and nature, the fusion of spirit and matter, the inner harmony between expression and existence. If we cannot experience this non-duality and resonance from our most authentic existence, then all holy speech about oneness are nothing more than an excuse of distinctions, a breeding ground for arrogance and an excuse for oppression. The universe is one, from the Purusha Sukta to the spirit of equality. If we return to the Purusha Sukta, we can understand that such misinterpretations are a departure from the spirit of non-duality. What does non-duality mean? It means that one and many are not adversaries, but rather mutually manifesting. It means that subject and object are not divided, but intertwined in relationships. It means that distinctions of noble and base are illusions, and true existence is simply the unfolding of the same divinity from different perspectives. If someone is demeaned due to their birth, it is akin to denying a part of the universe. If someone is elevated due to their lineage, it is akin to mistakenly believing that a part can rise above the whole. This misjudgment is a manifestation of ignorance. Non-duality tells us the universe is a unity, but this unity is not homogeneous indifference, but a diverse resonance. Just like the high and low notes in a musical composition, or the light and color on a canvas. If one were to say that low notes are not important, or that darkness lacks value, it would be tantamount to denying the existence of the entire musical composition or painting. The greatest error of the caste system lies in making people forget. The feet are not inferior to the head, but rather support its upright posture. The hands are not superior to the legs, but rely on the legs for movement. The metaphor of the Purusha's unity reminds us no one is dispensable, and no existence can be deprived of dignity. By abandoning the caste system, we are not just improving a social structure, but undergoing a profound spiritual awakening. This is not merely a call for fairness, but an invitation to embrace the essence of oneness. A person who clings to birth, identity, or power differences, and cannot see the underlying unity in diversity, is moving away from liberation. A person perched at the top of the caste hierarchy, relying on the debasement of others to affirm their own dignity, is actually standing on shaky ground. A person degraded by their caste, forced to accept a fate of self-degradation, experiences not just personal suffering, but the universal pain. Therefore, in relinquishing the caste system, the real reason is not because modern civilization no longer needs it, but because it has always been a distortion of the true spirit of the Purusha. It has betrayed the cosmic experiences of the sages, the truth of oneness amid diversity. The caste system makes people believe that division is real, and wholeness is an illusion. It makes people think that superiority and inferiority are eternal, and resonance is false. But the truth is quite the opposite. Wholeness is real. Division is illusory. Resonance is eternal. Hierarchy is the delusion of the human mind. In the philosophy of non-duality, the highest form of practice is not to escape from the world, but to view all existence with an equal heart. Equality is not about making everything the same or diminishing differences. It is about recognizing unity within diversity, acknowledging that each difference carries the dignity of the entire universe, just as the foot and the head. They are functionally different but equally sacred. For humans, this means that whether they are a farmer, a craftsman, a scholar, or a king, their lives all shine with the light of Purusha. To demean anyone is to belittle the manifestation of the divine. To insult any life is to insult the body of Purusha. Therefore, we must bravely abandon the sense of superiority built upon the suffering of others. That sense of superiority may seem strong, but is actually weak. It requires constantly creating the debasement of others to maintain its own high position. Its existence depends on division, and division will ultimately crumble. Only by turning towards treating others equally and respecting equally can we truly settle our souls. In equality, we finally see everything is a part of Purusha. Everything is a breath of the universe. Purusha Sukta is not a rigid law of the caste system, but a bridge to the spirit of equality. It reminds us that the universe is not composed of isolated individuals, but woven through relationships. Life does not survive through division, but through symbiosis. If we truly understand this point, we will realize that abandoning the caste system is not destroying tradition, but returning to the original spirituality of tradition. It is not denying the Vedas, but restoring the deepest revelations of the Vedas. The existence of the caste system not only reminds us of how power can obscure universal truth, but also urges us today to reflect deeply. Can we truly grasp the spirit of oneness? Can we genuinely let go of prejudice, discrimination, superiority, arrogance, and return to that non-dual truth? Can we live fully in the reality of wisdom and equality, becoming both the continuers and the expression of the one? The future path lies before us. We can choose to continue indulging in false superiority, maintaining a dependence on the suffering of others. Or we can choose to return to the truth of non-duality, embracing love and respect. When we walk the path of the latter, we truly shine the divine light of Purusha. Hear the echo of oneness in each moment. Then we will no longer see people through the eyes of caste, but see the entire universe within them. We will no longer treat others with a hierarchical mindset, but with non-duality. The spirit of non-duality transforms the boundaries between me and you into transparency, the illusions of high and low into resonance, and the opposition of respect and disrespect into unity. When we truly embody this in our hearts, the caste system will cease to exist. While it may have been abolished in law, only through such awakening in Atma will it be completely eradicated. Just as the Purusha Sukta sang thousands of years ago, the universe is the secret body of divine, and we are all indispensable parts of it. Nobility is not about being better than others, but about recognizing that others are also an aspect of divine truth. May we no longer create boundaries in the name of the sacred. May we no longer divide people in the name of divinity. May we return to the origin of that song. Let us illuminate each other in diversity and reunite in division. If you enjoyed this video and want to help support our channel, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.